Welcome to Heidi Reddit Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first story is titled, "My 23F fiance 24M has gotten way too overweight and I'm now having second thoughts about marriage. We've been together since we were 18. He proposed last April, to which I was so happy about. Back then he was overweight by maybe 50 pounds, he'd gained this over the course of college. While it's of course not great, it also wasn't a deal breaker for me. I still enjoyed having sex with him and he was still active enough that we could live a normal life and have fun together. Since then, he's gone on to gain nearly 100 more pounds in a little over a year. He weighs over 300 pounds. It's ridiculous at this point. I completely understand eating a crappy cafeteria vending machine microwave diet when you're in college, plus the stress and late nights studying or partying where snacking is standard. But this far exceeds that. His habits didn't improve after college. They just got worse. I've lived with him since our junior year and can attest that he eats far more junk food now, not less. Despite me shopping and making healthy, appropriately sized meals for the both of us. Not complaining about that. I actually love cooking and trying new recipes. I'm just pointing out he won't eat healthy even though he doesn't have to put in any effort to do so. Also duck food delivery apps, seriously, no hate at all to the drivers trying to make some money, but on the customer end, I feel like the sheer 24/7 instant access to fast food has almost become a crutch to him. He has to order something almost every day. Never mind the whole it's drilling in our budget. He can't seem to resist this constant availability, knowing he can get whatever he wants whenever he wants it without even having to leave the house. This far predates quarantine, by the way. I can feel my sexual interest dwindling by the day. It feels horrible because I still love him for the person he is, but the physical part just isn't there anymore. It's a lack we both notices. The problem is he's not particularly motivated to do anything about it because his sex drive has decreased in an inverse relationship to his weight gain. He basically figures, we're just equally, not feeling like having much sex these days. He doesn't connect that he's doing something to cause this, it's not just a fluke. And it's not only about his size either. It's also his tendency to just sit on the couch on his laptop and snacking all day. We used to do more things together. I've tried many times to get him to do stuff I know he's interested in, or used to be, but he usually turns it down in favor of the internet. I find it hard to find attraction to him when that's all he does with his day. I've tried talking to him about all this. He alternates between saying he's not that overweight and saying it's not a big deal because he doesn't have any medical problems. But he can't know that for certain because he hasn't been to the doctor in a while. In general, he sidesteps my worries by making jokes and acting really casual about it. Our wedding plans are pending due to virus, but we decided we'll probably go ahead with just a very small official ceremony in September. Being so close to making this commitment to him, as he is right now, is seriously starting to give me pause. I don't want my husband to be like this for the rest of his life. I don't want him to die young. I mean, 100 pounds in a year. So where is he by the time he's 30 at that rate? I'm not sure why he doesn't see a problem. He seems content with how things are. He says he isn't depressed. I haven't pushed it but did ask a couple times and he didn't seem to understand why I was asking. I do know depression or other mental illness can cause things like this, and I know depression cannot always be seen by the people around you, but we are quite emotionally open with each other. He's never been a guy who struggles to talk about his feelings or problems. So, this is unusual to me. He's caring towards me, goofy, and chipper as always in his daily attitude. His hygiene is fine. You wouldn't think anything was different if not for how he eats garbage and usually doesn't want to do anything that'd take him away from the computer or his phone for more than an hour. Could he still be depressed, do you think? What do I do about this? If he is struggling with something, I want to support him. On the other hand, if it's just laziness and not caring, I honestly don't think I could deal with that if it never changed. How do I tell the difference? A user in the comments said, as harsh as it sounds, you may need to sit down with him and tell him exactly what you told us. Stress to him that this is a huge deal for you and potentially is a deal breaker for you if things don't change. Sometimes, we don't realize how bad things have gotten until others give us a reality check. I wish you the best though. Another user said, do not get married. Please don't get married. Do not consider marriage until this is solved, not a promise or plan, an actual solution demonstrated. It's not only about the weight. You are not on the same page about budgeting. You aren't enjoying the same activities. You aren't having sex. You aren't communicating. Any one of these issues would be enough to pump the brakes. You guys need to solve all of these. Hit pause on the wedding. Get counseling ASAP. If he doesn't understand this as a deal breaker, be blunt and honest and direct until he listens. The next story is titled, Update, My 23F fiance 24M has gotten way too overweight and I'm now having second thoughts about marriage. Well, here goes, not a great update. I took a number of suggestions on what to bring up to him and how to have the conversation about my concerns. He did the usual thing of trying to brush it off. I persisted, much more than I have before. Eventually I got my wish, he finally told the truth. Not easily, mind, this was a several hours long ordeal. He did not want to come clean about anything. He has a weight gain fetish. Not me or someone else gaining weight, which I already knew was a thing, but him gaining weight. He's been doing all of this on purpose, for years. He said the beginning was unintentional, just eating too much junk at college. Then he realized he liked it. He also realized if he let himself balloon too much I might bail. He didn't want to lose me. So, he had enough self-control to keep it at a moderate level, until I accepted his proposal last year. That was apparently the green light he needed to throw restraint to the wind and start pursuing this fetish full speed ahead. I never had a single inkling of suspicion the entire time. I guess I can't blame myself for that because dramatic weight gain is usually for the reasons, I assumed, depression or stress or bad habits or just getting comfortable and not caring. You never hear of sexual motivations. I still feel like a complete and utter fool. Like I got played, hard. This was not what I thought I was marrying into. When, if ever, was he going to tell me? He claims he would have when it was the right time. What does that mean? Next week? Doubt it. Years in the future when we maybe have kids? More likely. Oh, and the reluctance to do anything requiring getting off the internet that I mentioned? That's because he's posting in forums and Discord fetish communities talking about it. All these people share weight gain tips and compare progress pictures of their bellies and write pornographic role-play stories. I'm truly disgusted. I've obliviously been sat right next to him countless times while he gets off in his own little world. He has even discussed with random strangers how to keep me in the dark. Apparently the most common suggestion was, play dumb and make it into a running joke, so there's my explanation for why he constantly dismissed anything I said. Unbelievable. This has been going on right under my nose for years. I really cannot fathom how I could be so clueless. And that the person I thought I knew had the gall to not only intentionally make himself obese, but to hide his motivations from me, seek out advice on how to do that, and lie to me over and over when I attempted to talk about my worry. I expressed how I felt seriously betrayed, like our relationship had been built on a false pretense without my knowledge. He did apologize sincerely. He said he would try to lose weight. I asked why is he only saying that now? Why did he refuse to discuss, let alone change anything all the other times I asked what was up? Leaving me to be confused and worried instead. He didn't have an answer. He just begged me to give him one chance and promised he'd stop and get healthier. My problem is, I just don't know if I can believe that. And even if he follows through, I don't know if I can get over being lied to. For years. I was so dumbfounded that I asked him to leave today. The conversation was last night, so I could collect my thoughts. He'll be back tomorrow night. 100% sure I want to call off the engagement. 80% sure I want to just bite the bullet and end the relationship. Duck this. I absolutely love this man. Why did he have to do this? The next story is titled, Cheated Again After Second Chance. So my 37 meters story started 3 years ago when I found out that my wife, 36F, was cheating on me with a younger man, traveling together and all sorts of things covering the full ABC. After confrontation which she never admitted to, used gaslighting like a pro, and me wanting to keep the family together, I decided on a second chance. Throughout the 3 years I found out many points of contact between them. It was a roller coaster of finding them, changed names in different messaging apps, changed names in contacts, and many more of the sort each time it was sidetracked. Let emphasize that in my country and community, Christians in a Middle Eastern country, it is almost impossible to get a divorce, as well as the community view of us being minority. Back to the story, I couldn't get concrete evidences because pie is outlawed in the country and any other types of digging for truth, so the roller coaster went on, and with virus 19 and me becoming unemployed things got way nastier. To cut the story short, yesterday she came to me with her phone having issues, so I backed it up, and told her today I will send it to the SC. In the morning I took the phone and found the call history cleared. I suspected she fishy, because I know for a fact that she knows I can access all her social apps, so texting is clean as a newborn after a shower, but calls are another matter. You see, she is lazy. Instead of clearing number by number she clears all, so I dug away and got her call log, and behold, phone calls between her and the other guy last Saturday, and what a coincidence, right before going out in the evening for an invitation as she told me. Anyways, I am feed up, but to be honest scared like hell. It has been 11 years, we have 2 young kids, 11 and 4, and my fear is for this life to be ruined and cause them heartache growing up. But at the same time I cannot take it anymore, it is eating me inside out. Last time our family got involved to fix things up, so I didn't tell anyone. I am going to confront her tonight and I am afraid. Not just because the kids and family life, but also because of the routine I am used to. Also, I don't want her to lie to me, but I can think of a million ways she will use to gaslight the situation, as well as make me feel low as a man, which is her tactic. What do you think I should do? Go for it? Or not? Also, I don't want to reveal how I got the info because it will open a hell can of worms. I have till she comes back, which is in the next 2 hours. Yeah, she called me to tell me her phone is going to die on her way to her supposedly massage session, while she has a charger in her car. This is how much she thinks I am stupid. A user in the comments said, "You gave her a second chance and she unfortunately blew it also. Your kids would be much happier living with happy adults who are separated rather than with adults who constantly argue and resent each other. It sucks that you're going through this for a second time, but I highly recommend getting the proof you need this time. That way you can have the outcome you prefer." The next story is titled, Update: Cheated on Again After Second Chance. So I confronted her and further on the story, this is what happened. She still maintained the innocent face, although I got the evidence from the telecom company. Already talked to a lawyer and we are going to see Sunday for a peaceful divorce for the sake of the kids. She is trying to provoke me, but I don't care anymore. I just want to be done with it. My advice to anyone out there: second chances makes you weak. Go for it from the start. It is the best for everyone. The next story is titled, My 26M Girlfriend 24F is acting weird and hiding things from me. My girlfriend 24F and me 26M live together since some months now. After the first lockdown, we decided we didn't want to spend so many months apart anymore, and we knew a new lockdown was on its way, so we began living together. Perfect idea, as we are now on lockdown again. Also, we are together since nearly 4 years now. Everything is going very smoothly. We are best friends and living together is a real pleasure. But some things are weird. She sometimes seems very fishy, like some days ago she looked guilty of something, went in the kitchen, passed by the living room to go to our room, and I saw she was hiding something behind her back. I jokingly asked what it was. She said, nothing. I began laughing and asked again, but she got angry and ran to our room to lock herself in. I saw what she had in her hands was a fork. Just a fork, a simple fork. Can't be mistaken. She did this twice this month. The first time I bumped into her and she was hiding 2 spoons behind her back. Then she ran away to our room. I asked her after this happened, why does she hide those things? And she said, it is none of my business. Every couple has their secrets. I accepted it, but why spoons and forks? Also, I can see her sometimes doing the same thing, but from our room to the kitchen, simply taking those back to their place. I never see those in our room though. A user in the comments said, as someone with disordered eating, this seems like some type of eating disorder. I've done this in the past, when I was living with my parents. I would take food and silverware from the kitchen and hide it behind my back or up my sleeves. A lot of times I would buy food after work. I worked late shifts, so when I got home, everyone was asleep already, and eat it in my room and then hide the trash until the next day when I could dispose of it while home alone, instead of throwing it in the bin in the kitchen, where anyone could see. Please sit down with her and have a gentle yet firm talk. Reassure her that you're not mad, you're not upset, you're not going to break up with her for whatever it is. That you're worried about her. And she has no reason to be embarrassed in front of you. That you just want to help her. Please, try to talk to her. My mom didn't know what I was doing, much less the extent of it, until she went digging in my room for something and found my stash. Edit. This is an addictive behavior, even if it's not drugs. Even if it's neither an eating disorder or drugs, she seems like she has a problem and needs help. The next story is titled, Update, My 26M Girlfriend, 24F, is acting weird and hiding things from me. Not many people saw my original post, but if those who did see it wanted an update on it, here it is, and oh boy, what an update. After posting, I was scared. Was my girlfriend doing drugs behind my back? Did she have an eating disorder? Should I try to press for more answers? Should I put a camera? Should I take her by surprise and enter the room when she's in there alone? I decided to sit her down and talk. We communicate well, never argue when doing so, usually. But this time, even if I was the sweetest I have ever been, she got angry, really angry. Stop asking about it. No is no, you won't get an answer about it. She got cold after that, for days. Didn't talk to me anymore. Reddit scared me with the drugs and eating disorder comments, so I decided to put a camera in our room. I quickly saw what she was doing with them and it confused me even more. She just put them in a plastic bag. She put in a backpack of hers that she then proceeded to put in our dresser. After seeing that, I looked for the backpack in our dresser, and there it was, cutlery, a pan, and a plate. I was even more confused. More questions than answers at that point. So, I sat her down, again. I took the backpack and opened it in front of her and asked again. She got angry, really angry, then she cried, then she went away, for a walk. She sent me a message 2 hours later to tell me she was at her sister's and would come back when she felt ready. She came back 2 days later because she had to work and had no other choice anyway. Then it was her time to sit me down and finally tell me what was up. She was fidgeting and nearly crying, but also laughing, and she said, "I know it's stupid, but I just hate washing the dishes." I asked her what she meant. "I am sorry for the way I acted about it all, but I was embarrassed to tell you the truth. I hate washing the dishes, and when it's my turn to do so, I take some of the dishes away, hide them, and when it's your turn to wash the dishes I put them back, so I have less to wash." It made sense. Our rule is, whoever cooks doesn't have to do the dishes. I always thought since she cooks fancy meals, that's why I always had to wash so many dishes. At that point I just laughed because WTF? But it was also incredibly funny somehow. I decided to tell her about the camera. She was offended at first, then laughed it off. She said she deserved it and would probably have done the same. Showed her the first post and she apologized for letting me worry so much for so little. All is well that ends well. It's a nice story, to be honest. No grudge, just a funny story to tell people in some years. For now she's still way too embarrassed about it, as expected. From now on I will always wash the dishes and she will take care of the laundry. Edit. Just editing because people are blowing it out of proportions. I won't dump her over this. It's less bad than you believe. It's just a childish thing. I caught her hiding once and she thought it was too late to go back and she went with it until I found out what she was doing. She got angry because she was embarrassed. She is an anxious person. Some things are hard for her. It just happens. It's 0.1% of who she actually is. I don't see things through rose-colored glasses. I am very down to earth and see things as they are. A mistake, yes, it made me do more dishes, but what is one more plate and spoon? Also, we used to alternate. One day was me, one day was her. She never actually put dishes for long in the backpack, and it also was in a plastic bag then in the backpack, as you would take your lunch for work. The next story is titled, "My 22M Vegan Girlfriend 21F wants me to get rid of my cat." I can't believe I'm about to type this, but here we go. I've been dating my GF for 7 months. She's amazing and we're super compatible in a lot of ways. She is an outspoken vegan, and she made it clear at the start of our relationship that it was important to her that any potential had similar cruelty-free values. Me, already being a pescatarian, had little difficulty transitioning to a fully plant-based diet. My GF was proud of me for going cruelty-free and everything seemed well. We became the vegan couple on our college campus. Then there is my cat, Mittens. I've had her for 3 years and I adore her. She's such a sweet and cuddly cat. However, my GF was always a little apprehensive around her, and she blamed it on not growing up around cats. After a while we sort of made a tacit agreement to mostly hang out at her apartment instead of mine, so Mittens never really came up again in conversation. Fast forward through all the quarantine stuff. My GF and I have spent a lot of time together during this pandemic and we've started talking about taking our relationship to the next level. We began seriously looking at either buying a new apartment together or having one of us move in with the other. However, after a lot of talking and planning, my GF sat me down and dropped a bombshell on me. She said that with this next phase of the relationship, she did not see a future with me unless I was willing to give away Mittens. She said that she believed owning a cat is unconscionable for vegans, because they hunt mice and eat meat, and because the very act of owning a pet is a violation of vegan principles. I was stunned. I told her that I was absolutely not willing to give up Mittens, and she had no choice but to eat meat, so I was reducing harm as much as possible by buying reputable brands of cat food. Plenty of vegans own cats and think along those same lines. My GF got mad and said, "How much flesh does your cat eat? How many animals died to make all that food? Would you be okay with that being human flesh? I got mad and told my GF that I would have really appreciated her telling me about her cat opinions before we got serious. She went on and on about cats killing animals. I ended the conversation there. I was so angry that I left my GF's apartment. And I snuggled with Mittens when I got home. Although the mood soured a bit when my GF sent me a link to a Reddit thread advocating for the extinction of domestic cats. I think it goes without saying that I am not going to get rid of my cat. However, it pains me to think that an otherwise wonderful relationship could be ending because of a difference in ideology. I don't even really understand where my GF is coming from because, like I said, a lot of vegans own cats. Now granted, cat ownership can be a controversial topic in vegan circles, and I probably would not have gotten a cat if I had been vegan at the time, but I have Mittens now, and she deserves to eat. Yes, I've researched vegan cat food, but Mittens has some digestive issues and my vet strongly cautions against it. I've talked to some of my vegan and vegetarian friends and they all think my GF has lost her mind. Some have suggested that it's not about Mittens and my GF just wants an excuse to end it. They probably don't understand why I haven't broken up yet, but I care about my GF so much. I'd hate for this bizarre curveball to be the end of a beautiful thing. I want to try and work something out. Where do I even go from here? I will not compromise on Mittens and I don't think my GF will compromise either. A user in the comments said, as a fellow vegan, no, this isn't even cool. If she truly cared about animals, she wouldn't ask you to rehome your cat. It has a loving home. Her way of thinking is ass backwards. If someone told me I am not a real vegan because I have a dog, I would laugh my ass off and tell them they can have their stupid label, the dog stays, he's family. Just like I'm sure your cat is your family. Another user said, as another fellow vegetarian, no eggs, this isn't what the being vegan stands for. I am a vegetarian by religion, so I can't really comment on the exact ideology of the movement. From what I know, it's about doing no harm to animals from a human hand. Animals acting their instinct on animals is a natural tendency of nature, and it's not something we change just because we don't want to see bloodshed, or we think that everything should be saved. That's not how the laws of nature work. You're a very good person to focus on the well-being and care of your cat. Mittens is very lucky to have you. In the long run, you're better off without her. She's doing mental gymnastics and using a movement that is supposed to focus on healthful cohabitation of humans and animals, to facilitate an idea that is unnatural to animal nature. If she does this now, and kept that idea away from you for so long, something big like this did not occur overnight, likely. It's been stewing for a while, you don't know what else she could say or do, and then try to reason her way out of it. You're really better off up. The next story is titled, My 22M, Vegan Girlfriend 21F, Wants Me to Get Rid of My Cat. Update. First of all, let me say thank you for everyone who offered advice. There are over 7,000 comments on my original post, and I have dozens of PMs. Frankly, I'm still pretty overwhelmed with the magnitude of the response. I did my best to read most everyone's comments, but obviously I couldn't get to everything. I would also like to preempt this post by saying, as many users pointed out, that my GF's extreme views on domestic cats are not representative of the vegan-vegetarian community as a whole. I do think that, sometimes, new vegans can be a little overzealous. In reality, most of us are just doing the best that we can to not hurt animals. I did not expect to generate a big debate in the comments. So, we broke up, obviously. I would never, ever give up my cat Mittens. Many users said that this situation was about control, not veganism, and looking back, I do see a pattern of control on my GF's part. I was blind to it, I guess. I called my GF and said I was not willing to give up mittens under any circumstances, and given the recent issues we'd had, and our incompatible views, I thought it was best that we parted ways. I said she deserved a partner that shared her values. She then asked if we were breaking up. I said yes. There was some anger on her end, but otherwise the situation actually went better than I expected. So, yeah. That's really it. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.